everybody, it's me, the Cereal Guy, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Cereal Podcast. Today we have our first guest ever, the movie reviewing sheep.
Oh, it's great to be on the podcast, man. You know, I love being on the podcast. I love being on the pilot of the podcast. You know, there's a really good podcast, and I love podcasts, and I like podcasts. I like being on the podcast.
Yeah, I get it. You like being on the podcast. So how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing just perfectly, Cereal Guy. You know, I love being on the podcast.
Yeah, I get you like being on the podcast. What are you doing today? Like, what do you like? You know what? Let's just start off simple. What do you like to do?
Oh, well, you know me. My name is the movie reviewing sheep. You know, I like to go out and review movies.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool. What kind of movies have you reviewed?
Well, you know, I pretty much review any movie that comes out in theaters. You know, I go to the theater, I get some popcorn, and, I go out and get some snacks, sneak them in, get a drink, get some popcorn, and go into the movie and just, watch it, and then I go home, and then I go on Rotten Tomatoes and review it.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Are there any, movies that you like recently?
Nah, man, a lot of the movies that I've been seeing recently are pretty shitty. You know, the only movie that's actually worth going out to see is The Godfather, because that's, the only good movie ever made.
What about Goodfellas?
Goodfellas wishes it could be The Godfather, and you fucking know it.
Okay, damn, man. Okay, anything else you want to say on the podcast?
Actually, how are you doing today, Cereal Guy?
Oh, I'm doing just fantastic. Thank you for asking, we hope you guys are enjoying the first ever episode of the Cereal Podcast.
Say, when do you think I could come back on the show?
Oh, I forgot to tell you. There's a rule when it comes to the Cereal Podcast. When a guest comes on the show, we can only have them one time.
What kind of dumbass fucking rule is that?
It's not a dumb rule, it just makes things consistent, I don't have to have everybody on the podcast over and over and over again. I can have new guests every single episode.
But that's fucking bullshit, I want to come back.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna change the rules to my podcast.
You're gonna change them for me, because I'm the movie reviewing sheep, and I'm obviously an authority on everything.
You're not gonna sit here and try to run my podcast. This is my podcast. I'm the one who decides how it goes.
You're gonna have me back on the fucking podcast, whether you like it or not.
I'd like to see you make me.
How about I jump over this fucking table and beat your ass?
I'd like to see you try, you son of a bitch.
Gladly. Ah!
What the fuck?
What the fuck? Piece of shit, Cereal Guy. Get off of me, Cereal Guy.
Are you gonna fucking behave yourself, or am I gonna have to kick you out?
I'll behave myself, but only because you beat my ass, not because I lost.
I would say that's the very definition of losing.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! I don't care! Damn.
So, is there anything else you would like to talk to me about on the podcast?
Actually, yes, there is. To anybody who's watching this podcast, if you like anything other than The Godfather, you're a fucking retard, you have no life, you have no kids, you have no wife, you have nothing, you're just a stupid bitch who deserves nothing in life, and you're the worst. You're the absolute worst when it comes to literally anything, so, yeah. Thank you for having me on the podcast. I have some more movies to review, though, so I'll see you later, Cereal Guy. Goodbye.
Okay. Well, I don't ever want him on the podcast again. Hey, security, can you make sure he never comes back in this fucking building again?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching the very first episode of the Cereal Podcast. Thank you so much for watching. We have big budgets coming soon. Thank you for watching the Cereal Guy Podcast, and wait till the next episode. Goodbye, everybody.